Okay, this is my second time trying to make this. I really want to talk about this without going into a really long backstory, but I also want this to make sense. But I guess I'll start with the fact that I already have 2 videos about my good health's descent to hell. Honestly, I don't even think they were that good and that they had that much detail. I'd probably be better off screen recording me reading one of the Reddit posts. But like I mentioned in those videos, I started to get pretty sick at 14, but then things got worse at 15 because that's when all the pain kicked in. I really believe that me getting sick goes back to the psychotropics and stuff I was forced on during the Munchausen situation. Because, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in my situation. I would commonly say that there was so much going on, I'm not really sure how I got sick, but honestly, it still pretty much goes back to the psychotropics. Because people commonly get, gut issues and even colon cancer and stuff from the psychotropics. So, I kind of thought that I cheated the system, which I thought I did this one time before, a few years back in my abuse situation, where I was pretty sure I was getting UTIs or something, but now from what I know now, looking back, I think I just had mold toxicity, but it also could have been connected to whatever gut issues I have that I still don't have a specific diagnosis for. But anyway, so since I wasn't allowed to go to the doctor or whatever, I just tried to order some UTI meds for animals, which actually this is a common thing that people do. When they don't have medical insurance, when they don't have a doctor, or when they just can't get a doctor to give them a diagnosis or prescribe them any meds because of all the medical gaslighting and all the games the doctors play, which is really crazy because it's not even it's addictive stuff. Because, of course, those addictive drugs that people call street drugs, those are handed out to people like candy against their will. But stuff like UTI meds, you have to fight to get a prescription for. And so I remember I used to have a video, I don't even remember which channel it was on, probably the prt4 channel, maybe the prt3, I don't know. But when I was still doing the evidence channels, I had a video of it, how I thought that I had finally beat the system, but then my order for the animal UTI meds got canceled. But it's really common for people to have to order animal meds for stuff because they can't get a doctor to give them a prescription for whatever reason for the human version. And it's not really that dangerous. You just have to not take too much of it. Same thing with animal dewormers. You have to not take too much of it. Although if you really wanted to do it a safer way, instead of even trying to get animal dewormers, if you have parasites or whatever, just get food grade diatomaceous earth. That's the actual safe way, as long as you don't take more than 1 to 2 teaspoons. Some people say 1 to 2 tablespoons. I don't really know about all that. But anyway, that's a side thing. So back to the point. Due to the fact that I couldn't even get any doctors to do any of the tests that I need, due to the fact that I said that way too many times. Since what was I about to say? Oh yeah, I'm way too young for a colonoscopy. I still have never even been referred to a gastro, which actually when I got in the Reddit support groups about this, because that's my only thing to turn to at this point, although they're really trifling, and there's a lot I can say about that. But when I got on there, one person said that they're shocked I wasn't referred to a gastro way back at 14 when I originally dropped down 80 pounds and started having all the pain and couldn't even really eat and all that. But of course they didn't. Which I was saying then that I thought maybe it had something to do with the medical gaslighting you'll go through when you have some mental label. Because of course I was still in the Munchausen situation when I was living with relatives. So it was hard to really get anything done due to my mom trying to turn everything into some she's retarded pity party thing. But I also was wondering if maybe it had something to do with the fact that the doctors knew I was in a Munchausen situation. Because of course they would come to me and tell me that they knew, but they would never do anything, as mandated reporters like to do. And so I thought that maybe they just felt like me and my mom were just trying to find some new labels to lie about, since the doctors were saying they didn't believe any of the other stuff that my mom was saying. But honestly, now I know that it's really just because doctors like to play games with people, pretty much. Because now there are no labels in the system, and my mom isn't here, and they don't know about the Munchausen thing. So this is really just how they are. Which is why I didn't even want to be talked into getting the PCP anyway, or even getting medical insurance. Because, I already have so much medical trauma. I didn't even see a reason to go to the doctor. But I was talked into giving it one last try, since I'm, visibly sick and all that stuff. And I'm in pain all the time. But it's really not worth it. The only reason I even want a diagnosis is to know exactly what I have for sure. So it's not some guessing game. So I can actually treat myself. But anyway, so since the doctor is playing games and I'm way too young for a colonoscopy and all that, and they won't do any other tests, which is honestly crazy, because the thing is, the doctors now won't even really do that many tests. But when I was still in my abuse situation, they had did a whole bunch of tests. Because this was during the point in time where I was 16, the doctors finally asked why I was even 80 pounds in the first place. And they also had said that I was malnourished, but then they just claimed that I was being starved at home, and then called it a day and didn't do anything after that. And then eventually my mom had withdrew me from the doctor's office I was at. But during this, they wouldn't really say what all they were testing me for, but I know that they test me for celiac, and I don't have that. And I don't have Lyme disease. I think I was even tested for Lyme disease, but I don't have that anyway. I already know I don't have that. So they never test me for parasites, which of course is hard to get a Western doctor to test me for parasites. Well, to test anybody for parasites, which I didn't even really consider having parasites until H. pylori was mentioned to me by that homeless doctor, which now I know. Well, I mean, I kind of felt like even then, the only reason that was even mentioned was because I was homeless. Just like how the Shingilla crap is going to constantly be thrown up to me as an accusation, even though I've been sick for years, since way before I had even heard of Shingilla, which basically is a stereotypical sickness for homeless people, because apparently we're crapping everywhere and we're touching the crap and playing in the crap and then we're eating the crap. To make a long story short. So yeah, I had never even considered parasites or even thought about having parasites until a doctor had mentioned H. pylori to me, but apparently I don't have that anyway. What was I gonna say? Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought, as always. I don't even remember what I was about to say, but like I already said in the beginning of this video, when I was in my abuse situation, or at least I think I said this, when I was in my abuse situation, I would go through so much gaslighting and stuff that it wasn't even till after me running away / escaping that I even really started to wonder what was actually going on with my health and why I was actually in pain all the time and constantly feeling like I'm about to pass out and feverish and all that. So I didn't even really start like looking into the possibilities. Well, I didn't start looking into the possibilities till after I went to the homeless doctor. And so after he mentioned H. pylori, I did research on what that was. Because, I did already start doing research, so I thought I had SIBO. But he mentioned H. pylori. And then I did research on what that was because I didn't think that it was something I could have because he was saying it could come from things like drinking dirty water, which honestly, I feel like if anything, he should have mentioned Giardia if he wants to talk about somebody drinking dirty water. But like I already said, it's really hard to get doctors to even test people for parasites in the Western world, which actually, I think now I'm remembering what I was going to say. I was going to say that I've actually seen videos about people talking about their journey with chronic illness and all that and IBD, and I've seen a couple people say that their doctors actually tested them for parasites, and I'm like, how did you even get a doctor to test you for parasites? How did you even get a doctor to really test you for anything? So that's what I was gonna say. But anyway, back to the previous thing though that I was saying. So when I was still in my abuse situation, this is so all over the place as usual. But when I was still in my previous abuse situation, the doctors tested me. They seen that I was malnourished and I was iron deficient. That had always been the issue. And then, that had always been the issue. And then vitamin D deficiency had always been the issue too. But apparently it's not anymore, which I guess it makes sense that it's not since I literally live outside. But what was the other thing? Oh, yeah. White blood cell anemic, red blood cell anemic. I think that's what iron deficiency is, though, but I'm not even really sure. I can't remember. High testosterone. I think that had always been an issue, too, but I was just never tested for it, but I always had signs of it, which that was used for the doctors to throw up a false PCOS diagnosis to shut me up. But, I mean, I don't have that anyway. What were the other things? Basically, everything the doctors tested me for when I was 16 either came back way too high or way too low. But still, even then, I was never referred to a gastro. And they still never did any real tests to see what was actually going on, other than the celiac and the Lyme disease, which I honestly feel like was pretty dumb. It's like out of all the things that they really should have tested for, and they tested for that, and then after it came back negative, they just called it a day and I was getting starved at home. They sent me about my way and told me that I needed to just eat more peanut butter and start drinking milk again because I had mentioned that eating anything hurts, but now I had like foods that hurt more than other foods. So like acidic stuff and then milk, which was actually ulcer symptoms, but I didn't know that then because due to all the gaslighting, I didn't even think to look into what could possibly be going on. So now, current day, I thought I was cheating the system. So I just figured out where the doctors even order the test from that they get, since they wouldn't order the test that they should order, since they also don't want to do a colonoscopy or anything because I'm way too young and insurance wouldn't pay for it. So basically, like I said in the other videos, the summary is that I can't get anything figured out because I'm broke. That's the summary of the whole situation. But went on Walk-In Lab's website because I didn't know yet that I could go on Quest website specifically, but went on Walk-In Lab's website because I heard about something through the research called a fecal calprotectin test. Basically, it tests your stool for calprotectin, which that's something that your body lets off that would also be in your stool if you're inflamed, basically. So it's used especially in people who need or already have a diagnosis of some type of inflammatory bowel disease. And so high calprotectin markers could also not just mean something like UC or Crohn's, but it could also mean cancers and stomach and colon cancers, and also parasites. But I mean, you can't even get a Western doctor to test for parasites, but I don't even really think I had that anyway. I mean, when I did do a protocol some months and months back, I did have die-off symptoms and all that, but that's kind of like a side thing to already present issues anyway, so that's kind of irrelevant either way. So yeah, I tried to order it, went on Walk-In Labs website, I put in my birthday. They claimed that I wasn't old enough, even though I am. They were claiming my birthday didn't say that I was 18 plus. I turned 18 in January, but it was claiming that my birthday wasn't 18 plus. I don't know why. Then I put in another birthday that would say that I was 19, almost 20 or something like that, but it claimed that that wasn't 18 plus either. So I just put in my dad's birthday. That was really stupid, but I wasn't even thinking about that then, because I didn't really think that that mattered until I thought about it after the fact, after I had already paid. Which, by the way, I made this money from busking, which makes it even more annoying because I was like sitting outside in the heat, which I mean, I'm going to be outside in the heat regardless, but I was sitting outside in the heat trying to sell my art, and that's how I had even made them. I already had a little bit of money saved up, but that's how I made the rest of the money that I needed to even order the test. And that's what makes this stuff more annoying, because it's like I already don't really have the money to be wasting on stuff anyway. So yeah, I bought it, put in my dad's birthday because it was something that I knew I would remember. Bad idea. But other things I thought of weren't working. So I ordered the test. I printed out the receipt and all the other stuff that I needed to take to the Quest office. Went to the Quest office today, and exactly what I had been anxious about happened. So the lady was like, I wouldn't be able to turn in the stool samples since the birthday says something else. And I didn't really think that it mattered originally because, like, I was just trying to make an account so I could order the test, but I didn't think about the fact that that was going to be on the paper. So not only for the receipt or receipt type things, it's not really receipt, but it's something like that, and some other things. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, and that even if they did let me turn in the samples, that birthday was probably going to be on the result paper, which I would still need to take to some doctor if I like wanted to get advice on like a treatment protocol to get into remission for whatever comes back. But what was the other thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, then the side thing is that apparently the stool sample has to be kept in a freezer, and I don't have a freezer. I don't even have a fridge, obviously, so I don't even know what I'm gonna do about that. So I had called the customer service line for the Walk-In Labs website, and they tried to change my birthday too, but they were getting the error message. So the lady told me she was just gonna like send a message about the issue to their IP team, and then they were gonna call me back about if they fix it and how things go. But they did change the birthday to 2005, which is kind of weird that 2005 worked for that, but when I put in February 20th, 2005, that didn't work. But yeah, so they were claiming that, well, they being the Quest people, they were claiming when I called them that the information has to be right. But that doesn't really make sense though, because I mean, for all that, they might as well had asked for ID proof and an SSN when I was signing up on the Walk-In Labs website. And they didn't even ask for that when I went in to get like the sample stuff. I feel like that's kind of some bull crap. And also, another thing is that I have medical insurance though, and the doctor never mentioned the fact that this test even exists because of course they're not going to. Like, there's so many things that I should have been tested for but never was, and I think that part of the reason I never was because of the fact that the doctors have never referred me to a gastro anyway. and the gastro would probably be the person to know more about that to even know what to test me for. And so that's part of why somebody told me that they're shocked that I was never referred to a gastro years ago. But yeah, so from what I do know, the symptoms sound more like Crohn's. I already know that I don't have the H. pylori stuff and all that. So that's good to know. But like, I really don't want to waste money on this. And I don't know how to get a refund either. And the website for walk-in labs claims that I can get a refund within 7 days. But then as I kept reading, it said something about 7 to 180 days or something for me to get paid back. But then it says something about getting paid back in a gift card. So I'm really confused. But from the sounds of it, I can't get a refund, which is really trashy. Oh yeah, I remember the thing that I was supposed to say but never finished saying. So the thing about me having medical insurance, it makes this even more crappy because it's like, since I have medical insurance, I shouldn't have to like even go out of my way to pay for like my own test, but it's kind of whatever. I had asked for advice on a Reddit support group about like what do I do after the results come back? I was like, so do I take this to the PCP? Because I really didn't want to do that because I feel like the doctor's just going to scold me, which makes sense because for whatever reason, it's like they want you to not care about your health and just like if they say whatever, they want you to say whatever too. But yeah, so the support group, the one response I did get, somebody was like, please don't do this. If the doctor feels like you need a certain test, they'll order it for you. That's some bullcrap. So yeah. And the last thing I could say is that people who use websites basically people who go on Quest and LabCorp's website to order tests themselves are usually people who don't have medical insurance or they don't have a doctor or maybe possibly they're working with a naturopath. So, yeah, it's the same websites the doctors use. And that's all I really had to say about that. I guess I'll title this, I Thought I Cheated the System Part 2, even though I have no access to the Part 1 since it was on the evidence channels, and possibly even on one of the ones that CPS snitched about and got deleted by my relatives.